If you like this video, I don't know why you would, but if you did, please subscribe, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. Someone brought up the question, what happens to unsold cars? Now, you might have heard me mention in the past, I've spent 42 years in the retail automobile business. I have never seen a car that has gone forever to be unsold. Every car eventually finds somebody that just has to have it. Every car. Having said that, you can take new cars and nobody wants to buy it. And it sits on the lot for 360 days. And it becomes a year-old new car. And some dealerships might convert that to their pre-owned inventory, where they would sell it at a reduced rate as a used car, even though it's never been titled, even though it has no miles on it, but they just keep reducing the price until somebody buys it. Sometimes dealerships will take cars that have been sitting on their lot to the auction. And by auction, there are absolutely automobile auctions that all over the country where used cars are sold. Mannheim's a big one. Edessa is another big one. And then there's a lot of smaller ones, but there are just major auctions all over the country. You have to be either a registered new car dealer or a registered used car dealer. A non-car person cannot get into an auction. You have to be affiliated with a dealership of some kind. They're buying it at what the dealerships would consider a below market price. Sometimes they pay market or slightly higher because there could be a shortage of those type of cars. But if this is a car that's been sitting on a dealer's lot, the dealer's just happy to get rid of it, take whatever loss he takes, and the next guy who buys it, hopefully his dealership is the one that ultimately sells it and makes a profit. But there is no such thing as a car that never gets sold. What you have to realize is every car has a carrying cost when it sits on the lot. The dealership is paying interest for having that car sit there. They're paying it to the bank for having the bank had lent them the money to buy that car. So if it amounts to $150 a month in interest and it sat there for 12 months, I can't do the math real quick, but that shouldn't be much more than $1,800 in interest on top of the cost of the car. And then the dealer is going to turn around and sell it for below what he paid for it. So the dealer ultimately could end up losing several $1,000s on a vehicle like that. In order to make it all work accounting-wise, the dealership will write down the value of the vehicle because, well, it's worth less today than it was 360 days ago. Now, I have worked at dealerships, and I won't name them, where cars have had 2 and 3 birthdays. They were pre-owned cars, not new cars, but pre-owned cars. And those dealers felt that they just hadn't found the right person for that car yet. And ultimately what would happen is the car would end up on the internet and somebody would see it, and they could be thousands of miles away, but it was the only one of those that was still available, and somebody would buy it. But the cost of having that car sit there for 2 or 3 years is astronomical, and it's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen a dealer do, because you're not really utilizing your money to make a profit. You're utilizing your vanity to say, I can sell this at the price I want to sell it for, and that's not a good business decision. I have seen dealerships take brand new cars that they have overstocked in, and they'll take them to the auctions and sell them at an auction with 0 miles on it and take a loss at the auction. And then whoever buys it, it could be another dealer that represents that brand, or it could just be a used car dealer, and they turn around and sell it. And obviously they're selling it for much less than it would have sold for as a new car, because it just sat on their lot and they got tired of dealing with it, and they just figure, well, it's cheaper, or it's easier just to take it to the auction and get it sold there. Here's what I would recommend to a customer. When you go into a dealer, and if you're interested in new cars, always ask the dealer, what's the oldest new car you have? In whatever model you're looking for. As an aside, when I was managing a dealership in Arizona in the late 90s and early 2000s, we had an issue where we would have several cars and several models all the same and the same color, and the salespeople would always tend to sell the one that just arrived as opposed to the one that had arrived 30 days ago or 60 days ago or 90 days ago. And we were always concerned, when I was on the retail side, of trying to figure out how to sell the oldest car you have instead of the youngest car that you have. The way I figured it out was I paid higher commissions the older the car was. So the first thing my salespeople would say to me when they came into the office and they were looking for a particular car, let's say it was an Acura TL, they would say, in a TL with the navigation in white, what's the oldest one we have? I mean, we might have had a half a dozen of them, but they wanted to know which one was the oldest one because that was going to pay them a slightly higher commission. And that solved my problem of having old cars sitting on the lot as opposed to young cars sitting on the lot. And by doing that, I was able to get my inventory in the right numbers, because you want to try and turn a car every 90 days if you can. On a new car side, you don't want a car to get older than 90 days. So if you go into a dealership as a customer and you say, I'm interested in a Cadillac, I don't even know what models they make anymore, but I'm interested in a Cadillac DeVille and I want it in black. What's the oldest black one you have? And they'll be more predisposed to make that one go away than the one that came in yesterday. And you can save money that way. You're doing the dealer a favor, and you're doing yourself a favor because you're saving money and you're helping them move a product that they need to move. I'm Ray Shefska, and I'm your car guy.